Thank you so much for your time to share your story with us for the Calm Mind series.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Anastasia, as you righteously claimed it to be. I'm a Ukrainian Canadian, and I live in Germany since 9 years. I'm a yogi of 18 years in total and a teacher for the past 8. And I'm the founder of the Berlin Yoga Conference as well as Inner Core Yoga Method. So I started doing yoga because of scoliosis when I was 14, 15, and the first yogic role model was this very famous yoga teacher from Russia whose name is Andrei Sidetsky, and I basically studied yoga from his books, and that was my first introduction into the yoga methods to help me heal or deal with some of the scoliosis related chronic pain. That was the first time that I came to in touch with the spirituality slash esotericism, and my dad had this really huge library in Canada on all kinds of books. I remember I was really fascinated with Carlos Castaneda. I read all 12 books, and things like Alchemists, they really hooked me to this kind of like mysterious energetic slash magical aspect of the yoga journey. So actually it wasn't so much the practice, the asana, that really inspired me to keep going, but it was more of this kind of story of enlightenment, actually, to be more precise. And on top of that, I started studying more this kind of spirituality from the Western perspective through philosophy, psychology, some of the sciences that are the closest to this kind of mystical worldview, such as quantum mechanics. Well, at one point, I just started doing other types of yoga besides the ones I was doing from the book. And I went into Bikram yoga slash hot yoga. I wouldn't say that I was inspired by the leader of that method, if you know what I mean. Then I tried all kinds of different yoga methods at one point. I got really attracted to Ashtanga during my third year of studies in university that I did in Spain. And I did Ashtanga yoga basically for the past 10 years roughly, and just this year in March I quit the method and doing kind of like my own thing now. So a regular day, because I have 2 kids, usually starts with the whole kind of like wake up, say hello to the kids, feed them, take them to the kita, then starts my practice, some office work. I work till the time that I need to basically pick up the kids from the kita. I spend some time with them. Either we go out or we go to our place, we play, we eat, we enjoy each other's company. And then it's evening time, they go to sleep, and I have some time with my partner or to finish whatever I have to finish that day. There are 2 jobs that I do in terms of my profession, which is being an event organizer and being a yoga teacher. And of course there are other roles that I play, such as being a mother, being a partner, being a friend, and so on. I would say if you combine all of these different roles that you play as a human being, compassion, patience, and kindness, it definitely would be my top 3 characteristics that are kind of required to deal with the people and build relationships and to have less conflict and more harmony. When it comes to my work, of course, things like discipline, organization, willpower is really important in persevering and to keep going despite the challenges. Well, so I was pregnant with my second child, with my daughter, and I just was asking myself what kind of a role model would I be to my second child, and what it is that I have to offer to the community through my work and through my passion, what I could share with others, and what I could kind of be remembered for, I guess, when I pass away. So I guess I was not satisfied with the idea of just being like a mother and a grandmother. I really wanted to make a difference in my community, and then putting together all kinds of different talents and expertise and experience that I have made in my life until that point just kind of quite naturally gave birth to the idea of an event where an international kind of crowd would gather under certain values and visions together. In the beginning, there was a lot of work by myself, but then in the process of doing some events, like smaller scale events that we used to call them pop-up events, more and more people started coming in contact with the project and feeling that they want to contribute to it, they want to support. So it wasn't entirely by myself, but of course a lot of work was by myself because until this point, I just don't have the budget to pay salaries, even including myself. So I'm kind of cautious about asking too many people to support, and I don't give so many tasks to people because I just don't want to take too much without being able to give appropriately. Until this point, it felt like it was a nice synergy, and yes, still a lot of work is done by me. What inspires me is to see people come in contact with the practice, such as yoga and meditation or any other kind of practice that gives them that kind of space. What inspires me is to see how they're changed, how they're transformed, and how their life becomes slightly better. Not in the sense as in like efficient, proficient, kind of like this capitalist idea of, you know, bigger, faster, stronger, better. More like how they can suffer less, how they can find more peace, more harmony, more balance, and more kind of positive relationships with themselves and others. So when all kinds of challenges come my way and I have those days where I feel like giving up and not continuing because it's too difficult or too stressful, or it just seems like everything is against me, like coronavirus or something, I guess it kind of like passes, those kind of very strong emotions and fears subside, and what is left is this difference that the project has made in people's lives, and this is what basically helps me to keep going. Yes, I don't do enough, to be honest. I did a lot for myself in those 18 years of practice. There were times where I was so self-focused that I would just do many hours of yoga meditation every day. I would devour books on yoga and spirituality. I was in kind of a phase of, you know, acquiring knowledge, acquiring experience, and it was very much self-involved and all about kind of like my journey, my healing, my empowerment, my transformation. And then at a certain point I realized that it's not enough, and that quite naturally something within you pushes you to share that with others and to help others on their way. And this is, I guess, where I am at the moment. I wouldn't say that there is a linear progression to it, that like the community service is some kind of like end goal and then there is nowhere else to go. I think more than ever, when you are doing a lot for the community, you need to do a lot for yourself, as you righteously said. And so, yeah, meditation helps, my yoga practice helps, but very often I don't have enough time for myself. as much time as I would have loved to. And it probably has something to do with being the mother of two small children. So I just see it more like a stage of my life, I guess. And I believe that balance is something that is a cumulative notion. So I don't have to be obsessed with balance on every single day's basis. I sometimes just think, okay, for the past few weeks it's been really intense, so now I need to take some time to rest, so I take a vacation. So that's how I find my balance. First of all, I'm very grateful to be in Germany, of all places, when it comes to the corona crisis. And I feel so privileged and lucky to live in this country that really looks after its people. And so, yes, there was some help from the government that basically helped my company to keep going and not declare bankruptcy. So as an event organizer, I was obliged by law to return 100% of the ticket price to all the people who bought those tickets, even though there were a lot of costs, a lot of work that was involved in putting this event together. So I would have been in a very big minus. But thanks to the government support and thanks to some of the donations by the people who purchased the tickets but then couldn't leave the credit for next year, but decided to leave a little something to honor my work, I was able to keep going. You know that feeling when you look back at some period in your life that was like really intense emotionally, it was really dark or really difficult, and you kind of smile to yourself and you're like, was it really that bad? Because like from here, you know, where you like found more comfort and you've integrated the experience, and when some time has passed and things kind of stabilized, you found your balance and your peace again.
But it was a shock.
Yes. So, I mean, I still remember it because it wasn't so far off. And just a few weeks ago, it was a big kind of like stress when it comes to my venue, wanting like a lot of money for this canceled event and finally settling for something smaller that I could afford. It was definitely a very intense period. I remember that it was stressful, that there was a lot of anxiety. I know that usually when there is a lot of pressure in my life, I don't sleep so well, so I usually wake up like super early in the morning, like 3, 4 in the morning, and usually when that happens to me, I realize, okay, things are really off. Yeah, so it was basically some kind of survival threat, I would say, and I felt it in my body. I felt that it was giving me a lot of fear and anxiety. There was some frustration that was coming out, maybe even in my relationships to the closest people around me. But at the same time, there was a lot of support and a lot of understanding and a lot of care and taking care of each other, sticking together through difficult times. Also some of my really close friends and people who have been supporting this project, some of our customers who've been really kind to donate or just to tell us that they really felt that we were doing something really great and that they really hope that we keep going. So yeah, there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of frustration, there was a lot of kind of like, why me, or why this corona thing? But then you realize that it's not only about you, that a lot of people are affected, that everyone is having a difficult time, and that it's basically difficult on anyone. So that kind of like helps you to put things into perspective. I guess it doesn't become such a big drama when you realize that it's not like life is against you, it's just the circumstances. Yes, it's really tough, yes, it's difficult, yes, it sucks, but all you can do is just keep going. And as humans, we're so resilient. I'm actually amazed at how resilient we are. And it always makes me think of like these comics about a post-apocalyptic life, you know, where everything is like destroyed and there is like nuclear threat in the air, but people are still living in caves or under the ground and trying to build new societies. That's a really good question. I guess the most basic answer would be something that most people would relate to when they would be asked this question as well, is thinking of ways how to do more things online and kind of like thinking creatively about how you can still have a community despite your ability to actually come together in a physical space. So as human beings, we are social animals, and especially when we come together and we share the same passion, the same vision, the same philosophy, the same lifestyle, we can really have so much fun together and learn from each other and share and feel at home and good and inspire to take this light and this harmony, this peace and this kindness outside into other people and other circles and other communities. But at the same time, it's difficult for us to, I guess, see how we could come together in a digital space, although we kind of are forced into it. So I believe that people still miss that kind of physical contact, physical touch. Just being with someone in the same room already affects your nervous system. I mean, those are studies, this is science. But it's the best we have. And so we should use it. What is the alternative? The alternative is not to have it at all. To be isolated, to be alone, to be at home, and to feel like you're disconnected from the rest of the people. So we use that technology, we use those tools to find the comfort, to find the understanding and the connection with others to the best of our ability. That's all we can do. I guess when you're a professional in a field, it's quite easy for you to find a space to practice. But for the people who are newer to yoga or don't have a regular practice, it must be quite challenging for them to find the time, the space, the mental space to practice. And so I think it really helps that a lot of people went online and said, hey guys, we know it's difficult to find that motivation / inspiration / energy to continue on your yoga journey, and we're here to help. So there was a lot of online offer and a lot of people offering their support in that format. I don't believe in going back to where you come from. Change is change, and you transform, and you can never go back to the way things were. Of course, once we find more comfort and more opportunities to come in physical spaces and practice yoga and meditation together, we would, because that's our first choice, and it will always be our first choice. But at the moment, I think people are more and more comfortable with the digital practice, and that means that things like, you know, having your technology around you while you're practicing is becoming more commonplace and more acceptable. Before, maybe I know of many more traditional yogis who would say, nah, practice yoga with my phone or with an app. There was this kind of like purist, you know, approach to yoga where you have to do it the hard way, the raw way, the real way. I don't believe in that, actually. I believe in anything that helps you to find that inspiration, that motivation, and that zone to come in touch with yourself. Through yoga practice, through meditation, and it could be, you know, apps that guide you, all kinds of video tutorials, actual live people that offer live classes, and all kinds of virtual communities that are created where people come together and practice. We all know that life is difficult. As Buddha claimed, life is suffering. Since we're alive, we might as well have fun. So that's kind of like something that I've experienced personally on my journey, kind of like being very intense, very into my practice, into the kind of like hard way, and into the deep things and the true things, and almost being a purist myself, I would say, or more traditionalist in many aspects. Now I realize the beauty of being more light and having more fun and finding more joy, finding opportunities to come together with people and not be so intense or judgmental or critical, but instead be supportive, be motivating, be uplifting. Because life is difficult. There will be plenty of things that bring us down, so we don't need to add to that. We don't need to bring each other down as well. What we should be doing is support each other through those difficult times, and that kind of support could be shown in many different ways. But we all know what it feels like when we receive it, and so this is what I encourage you also to do to others, and to have fun in the process.
Beautiful. Well, that's all from all of us here at Interview. Thank you so much, Anastasia. It was a real pleasure talking to you and learning about your journey.
Thank you so much for having me once again. It's my honor and privilege to share with you.